Hi, everyone. Dr. Funke Afolabi-Brown. This is going to be a really good episode. So, the reason why many times, right? And if this is something that resonates with you, let me know. Most people will at some point, let me just make sure. Okay. Most people at some point will set a goal to sleep better in the new year, right? It's part of your resolution. You want to lose weight, you want to be nicer to your kids. You want to make $1 million, you want to sleep better, right? You want to exercise better. One of the most common reasons why these goals fail, especially with sleep, okay, I can tell you about everything else, but for sleep, I know for certain, is because there's not much clarity on what you're expecting, right? And so it might be that your goals are vague. What does it mean to sleep better? Where are you coming from? Like, what does that even mean, right? That's number one. And especially for women in perimenopause and menopause, right? So in that midlife stage, you have so much going on. You have so many priorities that, at the end of the day, we start to get into boundary issues, right? You're taking care of older loved ones, you're taking care of the kids, the teenagers are they're not coming back to the house till very late. And so you're just all over the place. And as a result of that, and this doesn't mean like it's you. This is just the stage of life you find yourself. And as a result of that, sleep tends to fall on the wayside. So there's boundary issues. There's the vagueness of our goals. There's also something that is so important, the strategy, right? We're not really clear on even how you're going to accomplish that. So if you say you want to sleep better, I think the best thing to do is to take a step back and say, what does better look like, right? Is it that I want to wake up feeling refreshed? Is it that I want to, I want to sleep a certain number of hours? Is it that I want to attain a certain energy level? Your goals have to be as clear as possible so you know what exactly you need to do. The reason why that is so important, especially when it comes to sleep, is this, right? You might say, I want to sleep more, or I want to get more hours of sleep. A very popular one I hear a lot of women tell me is, I want to get 8 hours of sleep, right? And at the end of the day, that may not be the goal you should be aiming for. And honestly, this is what I tell a lot of people, because at the end of the day, when you're trying to strive for this 8 hours of sleep, which, there's a range and all of that, and you don't get it, you might start to feel like, oh, there's something wrong with me. It may end up being that you're backing up the wrong tree. And so maybe you should be that person that instead of aiming for 8 hours of sleep, you're aiming for better quality sleep. I would want to sign up for that, better quality sleep, because we've talked about this a lot. For women in perimenopause, good quality sleep is rare. It's hard to find, and it's just part of that transition, right? That doesn't mean it is normal, like poor quality sleep. That doesn't mean it's something you should embrace. There are things that we're going to be sharing today to help you to address it, and also to kind of give you a fresh perspective so you know exactly what you need to do and how you can reach for help. So I want to start off by, even let's set the right foundation. Assuming you're getting into this new year and you're like, okay, I want to do it right. And this is something I tell every single person. Number one, there are tons of people that have sleep issues, right, in the world. I mean, the National Sleep Foundation, I think the data they came up with, a couple of years ago, but I think it was even still recent too, is about 34% of Americans have sleep issues. So that's 1 in 3, a little bit more than 1 in 3. So that is a lot of people. But of course, not all 34% have like sleep apnea. A large number of them do, or have like a full-blown insomnia. They have sleep trouble. So it may be insomnia, it may be poor quality sleep, it may be insufficient sleep, whatever. And so I always will tell you this, before you even figure out where on this spectrum you are you just somebody who has, minor occasional sleep issues, or are you someone who has critical sleep issues that you definitely need to get addressed, is to start off with building the right foundation. And what better time, while everybody's setting goals and there's vision boards left, right, and center. There's like 5 vision board parties I've been invited to. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it to all of them, but to let you know that people are motivated, people are excited about the new year, excited about forming new habits. So I want to give you my top, I would say 6 tips for setting the right sleep foundation. So this is not the 20 sleep hygiene things that you're going to find on ChatGPT or on Google. These are evidence-based strategies that I want you to build a foundation on. Let's start with that, right? So coming through the gates, you're a woman, either a mom or a woman in midlife, who wants to get better. Maybe you're just tired and you're trying to figure out, where do I even start? I want us to start here, because no matter what I tell you after this, if that foundation is shaky, it's not going to work. So here's the thing. I call them healthy sleep habits, right? So we're going to create some healthy sleep habits. They're kind of similar to the sleep hygiene. I do not like that term, sleep hygiene. I just feel like it just gives this connotation of poor hygiene, right? And so it is, I call them healthy sleep habits. So these are really core habits that I want you to build on. And from there, we'll talk through what it looks like when you have a hard time sleeping, even after you've done this. But if you are on your phone scrolling all night long, or you're drinking alcohol till the wee hours of the morning, or caffeine with dinner, well, I think we need to work on that first. So think of it similarly to dental hygiene, right? So you'll go to the dentist, they'll clean up your teeth, they'll ask you to floss, you brush. If you have a cavity, right? If you have some root canal issues, you are not going to get away with just flossing. You're going to need more. But before we progress to get to that point, there are some things that we can do in the meantime to start, again, the foundation. So I have a fun acronym. I'm a lover of acronyms. It's CREATE. And here's the thing. If you have questions, pop them in the chat. Let me know, because I would love to answer any questions live. So if you have specific things you're struggling with, let me know. I mean, I will not be able to answer direct medical advice, but at least I'll be able to help you navigate some of those things. Anyway, so let's start with this acronym, CREATE. So it's CREATE. It is so easy to remember. And if you go on our website, you can actually get a worksheet where we talk through all of it. So CREATE. What is C? C is consistency. Yes. If there's anything you can work on in terms of how to improve your sleep, where you're like, I feel so overwhelmed, I don't even know where to start, my recommendation is to start with a consistent sleep time and a wake up time. Now, for most things, I want you to understand, you cannot control when you fall asleep, right? You can't control when you literally don't know when you fall asleep. When you lay your head on the bed, when you turn the lights out, but you don't really know when you just zonk off and go into sleep, right? But when you set the right environment with a consistent sleep time, a consistent wake up time, what you're telling your body biologically, your circadian rhythm is, this is when I want you to expect sleep. So if you're someone who used to go to bed anytime from maybe 8 p.m. or 10 p.m. or, you end up watching a late show and it's 11:30, this is a time where I want you to start to say, when can I set that consistent time? Now, consistent wake up time, consistent bedtime. I would say, if you're like, I don't even know where to start, that sounds a lot. Okay, start with a consistent wake up time. The reason why I want you to do that is you have some control around when you wake up. You may not have as much control around when you fall asleep, right? So you can set an alarm, you can get out of bed or whatever when you wake up. So keep that as consistent as possible. Now, on the weekends, especially if you have teenagers, they're sleep deprived all week long, right? So you may need to sleep in a little bit. I want you to avoid sleeping in excessively. So maybe within that 1 to 2 hour window, you still need to get up. So whether it's 5:30, whether it's 6 a.m., I want that to be like, it's like an appointment, right? You wake up, you get out of bed, and you start moving. And this is really important. This is so, so important. This is one of the biggest things that will strengthen that circadian rhythm and that will help you to feel better over time. So that's number one. Okay. The second thing, let me move my phone here, so in case you guys send me messages, I don't miss it. So the second thing, so consistent sleep time, consistent wake up. Before I go to the next thing, which is the routine, right? I said CREATE, CREATE. The thing about it is this is another question I've had people ask me, well, how do I know when to go to sleep? When does my body expect to go to sleep? So really, it's about where you are in life, right? If you are a woman in midlife, maybe you have all the demands, you have work, whatever, set a wake up time that's going to allow you to get ready for work, right? So maybe you have to if you need to go to the gym, or you're going to get ready or whatever, and you need to be out of the house by 7 a.m. Well, you got to give yourself time to get ready, right? So then that wake up time is the time you absolutely need to get up, and you lock it in and you stay there. Now, to figure out when to go to bed, you probably should subtract, usually we'll say about 7 to 8 hours to start, right? Because I don't want you going to bed and now you're waiting on sleep. So don't subtract 9 hours from that, like 5:30 a.m., when you know you typically don't go to bed till like 11 p.m. You're going to be just staring at the ceiling waiting for sleep. I don't want you to do that. So again, and we talk a lot about this. I have YouTube videos where I talk a lot about how to set that wake up time and sleep time. So that's one, consistency. And I wanted to spend quite a bit of time on there because that is so, so important. The second is R, which is the routine. You need a bedtime routine. Oh my goodness. I don't even know which is more important. Well, the consistency is actually very important, but the bedtime routine is critical. A routine is a ritual that helps your body, that primes your body for sleep. Okay. And it's not supposed to be anything complex, convoluted. You just find what works for you. There's no perfect bedtime routine because I've had people ask me, what's my routine supposed to be like? And I'm like, it's whatever works for you, whatever takes you from that fight, flight, go to taking it down several notches, right? If a plane is going to land, they're going to come from like, 10,000 feet or 20,000 feet, and they're going to tell you we're going to be landing soon. Store away the tray tables, put away the large electron. It's the same thing. You need a buffer. You cannot just zoom into bed the same way you've been zooming throughout your day. Sleep does not like that. Okay. So remember what I said. You do not force yourself to sleep, but you can create the environment to sleep. Okay. So that's one of the things. You cannot force yourself to sleep, but you can create that environment. So having that bedtime routine. Now, for me, I'll share my own bedtime routine because whatever, and you take it for whatever it's worth. And if you decide you want to just copy and paste, please feel free. I usually start with, we have devotion with the kids, and then they go to bed or they go upstairs. They're teenagers now, so most times they probably sleep a little bit later than we do. But anyway, so I go upstairs, I brush my teeth, I have a very warm shower. I like that because, again, that's the only part of the hygiene that I like, because it's just like kind of wash the crud away from my body, whatever, right? And to just get that hot water, it really helps drop your core body temperature, and it helps you really now start to relax. Plus, I do some therapy to myself in the shower. And then from there, I sit on a chair in my bedroom, and I just read. I love to read. So that's the time where I could read. Sometimes I'll read my Bible, sometimes I'll read a book, nothing too engaging. On top of that, towards the end of that routine, I usually will spend some time journaling. Why? Because I'm a very busy woman. I'm a mom, I'm a doctor, I'm a practice owner, I'm doing all the things, I'm a friend, whatever, right? So there's a lot of clutter, there's a lot of people stuff, there's a lot of my stuff, there's a lot of to-do lists that are running in my brain. So my mind does race as well. You're not the only one with mind racing. But this is what I do. I make it so intentional. I have my journal. I have one of my actually my sister-in-law, big shout out to her. She knows I love journaling. So she just got me this Louis Vuitton journal. So I'm going to be journaling in style. So I just have to put that out there. Like, it is really fancy, y'all. So anyway, so I'm going to be writing in this one, but whatever that journal looks like. You just want to write. Like, I write gratitude. What are 3 things that happened today that I'm thankful for? So I write that. What are things that I need to get done? Dr. Nishi, I love reading before bed. It is a great way to wind down. Yes, indeed. And thanks for joining. Dr. Nishi Bopal is a phenomenal sleep medicine doctor as well. If you don't follow her, you absolutely need to. Anyway, from the journaling, we go on. The journaling, we do some reflecting. We do, things that may be bothersome to me that I know I cannot fix overnight. Like, literally, the nighttime is not the time to solve the world's problems, but I note them down because that way I'm taking it from that spiral and that race it's running in my mind, and I'm putting it down. So you take that and you do it. And it may feel weird initially, but listen, nobody is reading it. You're not going to get it published. It's not a manuscript. It's just your thoughts that you're putting down on paper, okay? If you have a lot of thoughts, and everybody is at a different stage, if you have like maybe some anxiety, depression, or things that you feel maybe too heavy, and it may actually make it harder for you to sleep, then you can move that journaling to maybe earlier in the evening or something. So really find what works for you. But there's something so therapeutic about putting pen to paper and really helping your nervous system calm down. And then from there, I just I'm ready to go to bed. I hop into bed and that's it. I'm done. But some people may need to do some more. If you feel like there's still some tension in your body, you're still feeling a little bit wound up, then that might be a time to practice some relaxation, some breathing exercises and things like that. So you can see, you can make your bedtime routine as glamorous as you want to, or as pretty basic as you want to, like mine, right? So find what works. And you may literally need to try a few things. So find what works. If you find that certain things work better than others, well, just knock yourself out, go for it, right? So that's the thing. So we talked about the consistency, we talked about the routine. The next thing I want you to work on is optimizing your bedroom environment. This is so important, especially if you're a woman in midlife who maybe you're struggling with some hot flashes or night sweats. You want that bedroom to be cool. It has to be cool. And people will say anywhere from 65 to 70 degrees. You find what works for you. I think 65 degrees is frigid, but if you need it cool, then make it cool. Bottom line is it should be cooler than the rest of your house, okay? I know, and right now when we're doing this recording, it's in the winter. So you might be, you may have like some layers that you cannot peel off, but also even your bed sheet should be breathable fabric. Your pajamas should be breathable and cooling. You have some some really breathable fabrics that are used for pajamas. Bamboo sheets I love, really. So just really fabrics that does not trap heat. That's important. And then regarding your environment, you want it to be as quiet as possible. If you're someone who doesn't really like the quiet much, then you can get a white noise machine, or you can have Alexa playing that somewhere in the background, really finding what works. If you have a snoring spouse, you may need earplugs. I love the Oslo earplugs. Mine are in my bedroom, so I can't show you, but maybe I'll show you next time. This is a phenomenal brand, and it actually plays all kinds of white noise and things like that, and you connect it to different apps, and you can actually play like a sleep story or whatever. But so really finding a way to mask any external noise is important. And then the darkness, you want a room that is pitch black. I love the Manta sleep mask. Again, I don't have that here, but that is another brand that I really like. It actually has this cups in it, so it prevents, if you're someone who doesn't like pressure on your eyelids directly, it's perfect. So there's so many things. There's so many earplugs in the market. There's so many type of sleep masks in the market. So find what works. Don't let these things be what will limit you from creating that optimal environment, okay? So we talked about consistency, we talked about the routine, we talked about the environment. Now the fourth thing is assigning the bed for sleep, right? So I told you create, that's my acronym. You want to make that bedroom a sanctuary, right? A place where you go in there and it just becomes your favorite place in the world, right? So you're not bringing in drama. You're not bringing in that laptop and that computer and your dinner and the TV show. You're not bringing it into bed with you. I know many people watch TV in their bedrooms, and I'm not here to tell you yes or no, but I'm just here to tell you that you want to strengthen the association your brain has with sleeping in bed. This is one of the most common reasons why women's minds race as well. It's because you may have been doing so many other activities in bed. You're arguing with your spouse in bed. You're worrying in bed. You're eating in bed. You're watching the TV. You're scrolling on social media. You're responding to work emails. Your mind is confused. It's like, I don't even know what we're supposed to do. So spending the time in bed sleeping. So you really want to start to train your brain to do that. So if there's a non-sleep related activity, it's out of the bed. It's not in the bed. Okay. So that's assigning the bed. And then the T in create is really tackling technology. So I want you to have a plan for how you address that exposure to screens, electronics, and it's not good or bad. It's what it's really doing to you, and it varies with different people. We're talking about establishing the right habits from the get-go, right? So this TV, again, social media, nothing against social media, but it's the timing, the computer, things like that. All that does is sometimes it causes a lot of stimulation for you in terms of your brain. It's not just about the blue light. I mean, the blue light can delay your sleep a little bit, but it's that constant activity with what you saw last. I mean, literally, full disclosure, I have had situations where I saw something on social media and it just set me off. And I'm like, okay, I don't even know how I'm going to sleep tonight. So literally, so I know exactly what that feels like. So really, you want to avoid those kind of alerting, exciting content too close to bedtime. And then the last E I love is eliminate. Really, just do an audit. Like, what are the things that you're either eating, meaning putting into your body, or putting into your mind that can impact your sleep? I want you to get rid of them. So examples are late night caffeine. Listen, women in midlife metabolize caffeine differently. So that caffeine, that iced tea that you're having with dinner or the alcohol, it's going to linger. The impact is going to linger, and it will affect how you're able to wind down for sleep. Okay, so I would say do an experiment, cut back on the caffeine, cut back on the alcohol, and let's see how things change. That's one. Another thing is eating like spicy, heavy meals just before bed. Here's the thing. I don't want you going to bed hungry. So if you had dinner at 5 p.m. and you're not going to bed till 10, well, you're kind of going to be hungry. And I don't want your blood sugar crashing in the middle of the night. So it's actually okay to take a snack. So I've had people who will fast for hours before bed and now they wake up in the middle of the night and they're wondering, well, why am I waking up? And now they're hungry and they go grab like, carbs from the fridge. So we're not doing that. If you need to take a snack, it is absolutely okay. But just take a snack that would actually promote better sleep. So things that are high in protein, right? Things that may be higher in like complex carbs kind of thing. So you could do a bowl of oatmeal. You could do some apple slices with peanut butter. Or you could do, a little bit of meat. You could do some yogurt. I love yogurt. It has, especially Greek yogurt. It's very dense in protein. You could do, that with like blueberries or things like that. So I would say not chips, not the cookies, things like that. You want to avoid that. So you can have a little bit of a snack, but you want to avoid like the big bowl of pasta and the steak at 9 p.m., right? You want to save that for earlier in the evening with your dinner. So that might be something you might want to eliminate, especially if you're finding that you notice that you have a bit of indigestion and things like that. And Amanda says, great suggestions. You're so welcome, Amanda. So good to see you here. So I think that's something that you want to work on. So we've talked about consistency, we've talked about routines, we've talked about the environment, we've talked about assigning the bed for sleep, we've talked about what to do with technology, and then we talked about things you need to eliminate. Eliminate the mind drama, right? If you're bringing in, the media, like everything going on in the news right now is upsetting, right? Don't watch that just before bed. Don't do that to yourself, right? Eliminate the doom scrolling where you now see someone, who's like maybe your friend from college who's now like living their best life and has this like highlight reels, and now you're like, what the heck am I doing with myself with my hot flashes, right? Take that off. You do not need that. You don't need that at all. I give you permission to turn that off, right? So eliminate the things that are going to impact you emotionally, eliminate the things that are going to impact you physically, so that when you ease into bed, it becomes the safe space for you. Okay. So we've talked about that. Again, this is the foundation. I didn't want to move forward to even talk about other things until we establish that right foundation. One other thing I want us to have is tools for what to do when things don't seem to be working the way they should. So you've done all these things, right? You're like, okay, Dr. Brown, I am really on it. I'm really focused. I'm going to be very clear with my goals. I'm going to have like accountability. I'm going to have a strategy where I'm following this sleep habit, but I'm still tired. I'm still exhausted. I'm still waking up with a fog. I'm still irritable with my kids. I could barely get through the day. I'm drinking caffeine nonstop. Like, I'm still tired. It's not working. In fact, you may now say like, or I'm having a hard time falling asleep at night, where now as evening approaches, I'm starting to have some anxiety because of the sleep difficulties I'm having. This is really where talking with somebody who understands sleep issues comes in. So I'll tell you a few things that could be going on. The focus of this talk is really for women in midlife, right? Women in either like perimenopause, menopause, and things like that. There's so many things. The reason why I wanted you to work on the hygiene stuff is because that might be the issue, right? Again, if you're doom scrolling till 1 a.m., well, of course, no wonder you're not sleeping, right? So that's why we want to establish that. So assuming you've done all that, it's all good, the environment is good, all of that. What else could it be? Well, it could be things that we know with a lot of women in midlife. It could be hormonal changes, right? So with the hormonal changes, especially things like estrogen that's kind of going up and down and up and down, and progesterone that's making its way down. All those hormones can affect your sleep quality, and cortisol sometimes goes up. So things are going in the wrong direction. Things that should be going, things that I'm laughing because I'm laughing not at you, but with you, because I get it. I'm there, right? So things that should be going up are going down, and things that should be going down are going up. So it's all over the place. So it's like this roller coaster. So it's not so much things you are doing wrong, it's your biology. And when you're in a situation like that, yes, some environmental strategies will help, like making sure that the room is cool, all of that. But in some situations, you may need to speak to somebody who's informed in perimenopause and menopause, and talk about what the options are. There are hormonal options, which are hormonal replacement therapy that can help. And those could just be the game changer that you need to help you stabilize your sleep. There are non-hormonal options, which is amazing. There are now some medications that can help with those night sweats that can help you sleep better, right? So that's one. So it may be the hormonal issues and you can address them. There are also some supplements that can help. Some of them are what we call adaptogens. So some things like, ashwagandha, black cohosh, there are few of them. I mean, the data on them is mixed, and it may really just help with sleep specific issues, may not necessarily help with all the issues. But again, there's some options, but it helps you know what you need to target, what you need to focus on. So it may be the hormones. Now, because the hormones are coming, it can impact so many other things. It puts us at risk for conditions like sleep apnea. I still saw a woman today, super fit, super healthy. She's an athlete. She eats everything healthy. Like literally, she puts my plate to shame. And she's like, I can absolutely not have sleep apnea. Guess what? She has significant risk for sleep apnea. I know it because I've seen so many other women like her with sometimes mild, but sometimes even moderate sleep apnea. So the fact that you're not snoring and making loud noises and gasping as a woman in midlife, sleep apnea gets missed. Please, please, please get screened, talk to your doctor. Let's get you tested. Let's figure this thing out, because that might be why you're still waking up tired, especially when you're doing everything, right? So that's another reason. Other things like restless leg syndrome, where your legs or your body just feels not well rested. And we might see this, I see this with sometimes iron or ferritin deficiency, some other micronutrient deficiencies. So these are things that you can work with a holistic sleep doctor like myself, or even talking to your regular primary doctor and seeing how far they can take you with this to figure out, is this something wrong with what I'm eating? Are there supplements I should be taking? And you can get a customized plan that would work for you. So that's another thing. Then there's also the mental health piece, right? So there's anxiety, there's depression, there's mood swings, which sometimes come with midlife and everything else that's been thrown at you. And so this may be a point where you want to talk to someone, you want to work with someone, because the way it is this, and we don't even know what starts first, right? Sometimes it's the mood issues that trigger your sleep problems. Sometimes it's the sleep problems and being so tired all the time that now makes you, anxious or depressed and all of that. So regardless of it, it is important to work on your sleep, but it's also important to take care of your mental health. Give yourself space. Make sure there's opportunities for you to get grounded. Make sure that you're existing in communities. These are things that are so important, and so at the end of the day, the goal is to help you to move from exhausted, from tired, from just trying all the stuff, to really being methodical in figuring out what's going on with your sleep. So I talked to you about all the healthy sleep habits. So depending on when you watch this, you may need to go back and watch it again and rewatch it. This is probably one of those episodes you want to just kind of bookmark and come back to it. So you take care of those like foundational stuff. And then we now start to look at what else could be going on. Could it be thyroid issues, right? Could it be a medical sleep disorder or just a medical disorder? So medical sleep disorders like sleep apnea, like restless leg syndrome, like sometimes supplement deficiencies. There's certain micronutrients that impacts how sleep is regulated. And if they're faulty, if your thyroid is off, if your vitamin D is off, if your magnesium is off, then that is going to contribute to sleep problems down the line. So you definitely want to get that all checked out. And then there are things like, like I said, the thyroid problems. It could be so many things, but you use this approach not so that you don't feel like you're throwing stuff at yourself, right? Or people are throwing stuff at you. When you can say, where is it coming from? What is the root cause and how do I get to the bottom of it? And then you can get the sleep that you need. I'm here to let you know that this is possible. Restful sleep is possible, okay? And 2026 can be that year where we change that narrative of, oh yeah, women in midlife, women in perimenopause, they just don't get enough sleep. No, who says? You could still get enough sleep. We just need to figure out how that will work for you. And that's where we come in. That's where we come in, the Restful Sleep Place. This is really something that we are so passionate about, to help women, to help children and all adults really sleep better with expertise in women in midlife. And we can help you figure out where exactly the issue is, where the things go off, right? Where and how do we get back to what looks like good sleep for us? And what looks like good sleep for you is not what looks like good sleep for the community. It's what helps you wake up feeling refreshed, restored. Well, you're not waking up multiple times at night. It's what makes you show up for your family, the best version of yourself. It's what makes you feel so productive because you're just like, oh my goodness, I'm just clear. You're not living in that fog. That is what we work towards. And we kind of just reverse engineer it, figure out what's going on, and move you forward. So if you are on the fence as to whether this even works, it turns out there is a sleep doctor. There are sleep doctors, that's number one. And there's sleep doctors that are actually really focused on providing comprehensive care where we're looking at root causes of problems and providing the strategies that will help you move from drained and exhausted to thriving and living your fullest potential. And the bonus is this: if your child is the one that's waking you up, well, we got that too. We'll help you figure it all out. So give us a call, 215-607-8297. We're here to help. We have tons of resources, free resources. You can log on to to YouTube. We have a very active YouTube channel which you can subscribe to, where we talk about all of this. This is just so much valuable information to kind of get you started. But again, like I said, if you've done all the things and it doesn't seem to be better, it's time to reach out for help. So again, here is to a 2026 where we are well rested, we're not burnt out, we're thriving, our families are thriving, we're achieving our goals, not from a place of vagueness, whatever it's going on, but we are moving forward and making progress from a place of rest. Okay. All right, everyone. Until next time, I hope you rest well.